House to Home, brought to you by Remax Diamond Realty.
This is House to Home, where we give you the very best information on Guam about property ownership. Now, last week, you may recall, we talked about some of the things that might scare you away from possibly owning a home, because with Liz and Gina's help from Remax Diamond Realty, we were talking about equating home ownership to dating. Now, we said, you may get cold feet, there's a lot of obligations, there's the mortgage, there's fixing the yard, possibly fixing the toilet, I know you mentioned, Liz. But there are many more benefits. Just like being in a marriage, overall, it behooves you so much more to be married.
That's right.
I'm not sure if there's any passage in the Bible that says you actually have to own a home, but you can see the logic and everything. So, Gina, let's start with you. For the benefit of everybody watching right now, what is equity and what value does it mean to you as an adult and as you begin to progress in years?
So equity is the simplest way to explain it is it's like you've taken the money that you've saved up and you've invested it into this home. Even if you get 100% financing, you had some equity, you had some money that you had to put on the table in order to buy a home, okay? So it's like putting that money in a savings, and equity is that house goes up in value and that's your equity. That is the amount you owe versus the value that has gone up. That layer is your equity. It's kind of like your return on your savings. It's what you're making on the house as it continues to grow in value.
Because quite literally, a house is an investment.
It is an investment in every sense of the word. It really is like you're taking that money, you're taking it out of your savings account and you're putting it into the house by paying for the fee so you could get the mortgage. And then over time, the value of that property, relatively speaking, it should continue to go up. But it goes up if during the time you've kept the house in good condition, you've maintained it, you have insurance on it, so if there's a catastrophe, you're able to address those issues, you've kept it well maintained. And then of course the value should go up if the market stays the way it is. And the beauty of real estate is what goes down goes back up. So right now we're in that upswing again.
All markets are cyclical.
Yeah.
Cycles up and cycles down.
Yeah, so that's the equity.
And the cool part about it is if a family bought a home, and let's say their family starts to grow, whatever that equity value is. So for example, if they bought it for $150,000 or $200,000, and then 3-4 years later, it's worth $350,000. They pay their mortgage, they still have a difference that they walk away with. It's their equity. They can take that to buy another home. So what some families do is they buy up. They buy a bigger home, or they may maintain that home, turn around and rent it, and then move on to a larger property to accommodate their growing family's needs. So investors look at that. Instead of, if you look at your interest rate of what you put your monies in the bank, what is that return? Is it 1%, 2% now versus buying a piece of property and then seeing what that return of that investment would be a few years down the road? So more than likely your return on real estate property is so much higher in comparison. I mean, I'm not saying don't put your money in the bank. I'm just saying for investors who have extra monies to play with, this is what they would do.
Because you're using money to make money.
Right, to make money, exactly.
And this is the kind of thing, like in terms of equity, that car ownership does not deliver, and smaller investments and everything. Because owning a house is a huge chunk of your time, your effort, and out of your bank account and everything. But it does benefit you in the grand scheme of things.
But again, for families, we try to educate them as much as they can. And I've seen families go from a 2-bedroom condo to a 3-bedroom condo, and then they eventually build their own home. And then they have a 4-bedroom home with over 2,000 square feet of living space compared to the 800 square feet that they started with in the beginning.
Okay, there's a very good point, and I'd like to ask both of you, if I may. The sentiment I kind of got from you, Liz, was sustained growth. You said 2-bedroom condo, 3-bedroom condo, full house. What if people at a very early age go from renting a 2-bedroom apartment or a studio and everything, and all of a sudden they want to own, a 4-bedroom house? They get married, and maybe they have a child, and maybe they have a dog and everything like that. Do you as realtors advise people to take phased growth as you get older, or can you make that jump from, little 850-foot square, studio apartment to palatial mansion?
I think it'll be dependent on their income. So some people don't want to go through that process and they want to just go big. So of course you'd have to look at their income to see what can that buy. So when you get their assistance in getting them pre-qualified, you want to see what will that buy. But then you always have to sit with them. Can you handle this? What are your current expenses? Are you traveling a lot, and what's your budget like? Because then when you grow to a bigger piece of property, your mortgage, of course, will be higher than what they're accustomed to. I know I advised someone, they bought the house at that time really low, and I said, do not sell this, keep it, rent it, because if you refinance it or something, yes, you'll get some monies back, but you're going deeper into debt. So if it's cash flowing, keep it rented, and then they eventually bought another home that they moved into, renovated, but they have both homes. So they're able to sustain it because their income can support it.
Okay, well, Gina, final word is yours. Why should
Well-
people own their own home?
Well, number one, because then you can control it. The equity growth is in your pocket, and it's more stable for you. You're not adhering to what happens in the market. As the market goes up, landlords will see that and the rent goes up. But you know, for new families, you were talking about new families that are going from a 2-bedroom to 3. What I tell them is, go get pre-qualified, and you know that payment, if it's 250, 300, 400,000, go ahead and start making that payment now. Make that payment for 6 months while we look around. Hopefully it won't take us 6 months, but do it now. So if your payment's going to be $2,000 a month, start paying that every month somewhere. Put it in your savings. And if you could do that for 3 to 6 months, then maybe you are ready.
All right. Well, ladies, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Stay tuned, everybody. We are back right after this good information.